Hey guys, Chris with Western Colloid here with my Uncle Tim. We're talking job site setup today. So we're going to kind of walk you through some of the setup and procedures and precautions. So when we come to a job and you're going to put one of our roofs on, it's really important that the customer's giving us a space either on their sidewalk or in their parking lot, and we want to keep it clean. So ideally we're going to come in, put a high quality roof system down efficiently, and we're going to leave that job, and if we've done it right, they won't ever know we were there. So have some tarps, have some trash bags, take precautions. So over the course of the day, we're going to kind of walk you through different setups. We got barrels, buckets, totes, tankers. We got a pump here, and some of the safety procedures involved with setting up for a job. So bear with us, and we're going to give you all we know about trying to set up a job site properly. Thanks. So I want to pass it off to Tim. Tim's been doing this a long time. You'd be hard pressed to find somebody who's more knowledgeable about Western Colloid systems and applications. So Tim, man, can you dive into some of the particulars?
Chris had mentioned a little bit about prepping our area, very important, so we set up the tarps. Another thing I highly recommend is a water hose. Have it hooked up, ready to go. Mistakes happen. Guys just, forget from time to time, something can happen. If you're prepared with a water hose, you can clean up that mess a whole lot easier than if you already have to go find the water hose, find where you can hook it up. So something you should keep in mind when you're setting up a job site. So what we're going to talk about today is Western Colloid's delivery methods of emulsion. Tankers, 25 to 5,000 gallons of emulsion. Totes, 275 gallons of emulsion. Drums, 55 gallons, and 5-gallon buckets. So what we're going to do first is we're going to hook up a Graco 733 to the tanker. Okay guys, so we're going to start with hooking up our spray hose to the pump. Caps and plugs, very important. When you're done, you want to have plugs, caps, so you don't have material leaking out. So we're going to remove the cap, take out the plug.
So now we're hooking up the hose. This particular one is a 1250 PSI hose, which will be sufficient for the emulsion. This is a Graco 1017 lower end. Going to be 17 gallons a minute at about 1,000 max PSI. Depending on what you set your pressure at, those numbers may vary. But very important, this is a 1250 PSI hose, which is going to be sufficient for what this lower end can produce. These are pressurized hoses, and make sure you have the proper pressure hose for what you're trying to do. So this particular hose is the one that's going to go up onto the roof. This is what we're going to put the roof on with, okay? So Tim has put this on here, and then we'll move on to hooking up the transfer hose. So we have a 2-inch transfer hose with cam lock fittings.
So guys, we were lucky enough today to have a contractor supply us with some equipment to hook up to our containers, tanks. Just because I see, and these guys did a real good job with this, I recommend you keep stuff cleaner. But they put in this heavy-duty hook. Sometimes this stuff gets gummed up, and it's nearly impossible to get out. So this is a good idea. They just beefed it up. So the thing that's really important is keeping things clean and using white lithium grease to lubricate.
All right guys, so we're ready to hook up to the lower end now with our 2-inch transfer hose. Again, we have 2-inch cam lock fittings. We highly recommend cam locks, okay? Don't get the pipe threaded. This gives you an easy connect and disconnect at the end of the job, at the end of the day. If you're going to transfer from a tanker to a tote, from job to job, this is just a really secure, easy way to move this hose from container to container, and like I said, at the end of the day, when you're trying to clean up. So highly recommend cam lock fittings on all of your hoses. So there's that. In addition, we got a trash bag here. So we're about to pull this off. I don't really know what's going to come out of here. So just as a precautionary measure, I'm going to give Tim a trash bag. to catch anything that might come out.
So what we've done is we've tilted the pump forward. That should eliminate most, but it still can be a little bit of residual emulsion that flows out of there. So just like we sprayed the other side, we're going to spray this side. That's how we lubricate this. We slide this on, close our cam lock fittings. We're secure there. Now we're going to move over to the tank. Okay, so we're going to talk about something else. In the meantime, I'm just going to open this fitting. Same thing, I got a bucket here. I'm going to lubricate this as well. Well, what we're going to hook up into this system right now is a Y strainer filter basket. What this does is, unfortunately, with the use of tanks, there is the chance to get some small, what we call chunkies. It happens sometimes. There's just no way around it. So, filters. Filters are your friend. They will take care of that. So it's pretty simple. Cover comes off. Filter goes in. So we recommend you have two screens, two filters. So that way you have a problem, you say, hey, I got to clean the filter, take the cover off, take that one out, put it in a bucket of water, put a new one in, you're hooked back up, the guys on the roof are back up and running, no downtime, very little to speak of. So highly recommend it using filters. So we're going to lubricate both of these.
So a lot of what we're doing, you guys, is these are all precautionary measures. So if we have a problem with a loss of pressure on the roof, it could be that there was something in this filter. What Tim was talking about, having a bucket of water close by. Have your spare filter in the bucket of water. And now if you ever do have an issue with something slowing down your pressure or slowing down production, you take this off, you pull the old filter out, you put the new clean filter in, you take the dirty one, you just throw it in the bucket of water. So the main thing is I got 4 or 5 guys up on the roof that are waiting for this to get repaired.
Alright guys, so we talked about the filter, so now we're going to hook up our other cam lock fitting. Chris, hand me that white lithium. Again, we spray it, spray this.
And this is just a really good habit, you guys. Using the grease, man, it's just so, on a cold morning, trying to pull caps off, trying to pull plugs off. I don't want to fight with it to start my day. The grease takes them 2 seconds to put on there. Just throw a little grease on there. Keep it on hand. Keep it around. The emulsion's sticky stuff, and its consistency changes depending on whether it's hot or cold. Especially when it's cold, it can be challenging to pull 2 pieces of metal that are kind of glued together with emulsion. The grease just helps.
Okay, so guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to open the valve. What I'm going to ask Chris to do right now is something really important when you're using a tanker. Chris, jump to the top of the tank for us. And we've got to crack the lid. We've got to vent it. If we don't vent this tank, we will suck the sides in. So very important that you vent the tank.
All right, guys, so I'm up here. I'm going to open this. Really important. This tank, as large as it is, it absolutely will crush. So as the pump's pulling on it all day and sucking the air out of this container, it is a closed vacuum system. If we don't give it a vent, this tank absolutely can crush. And under worst case scenario, it actually could put a split in it. So very important, and now it's leaking product out onto your parking lot. So very important, every morning we're gonna open the top of this tank to vent it so it has air coming in constantly into it, okay? And when we're doing that, same as the 3/4 inch hose, same as the 1/2 inch hose, same as all the system that we're working with, it can be pressurized, and be aware of that. So this tank included can be under pressure. So what I recommend, you have all these latches I'm pulling off. The hinge is over here. I don't know if you can see it from the video, but this is the hinge on this side. I've left this last latch still attached. This is gonna be the last one I'm gonna do. On occasion, when you go to open this, it can be under a little bit of pressure. It gets hot, gets cold. So I do not want this thing to fly up into me. I want to be on the other side. So when I pull this last latch off and I give this pressure to lift it up, I want to make sure if it flies up, I'm not in the way. So be safe, keep your body clear. So I'm gonna open this up. Just gonna take this latch. That's it. And I'm gonna leave it like that all day while we're working. It's gonna stay like this. At the end of the day, before we go home for the night, I'll take this and close it all back up. Okay, that way the material doesn't get dried out overnight.
Okay, Chris has vented the top of the tank, so now we're ready to open the butterfly valve. Just grab the release right there, pull it down. That's it, it locks right there. So now we have emulsion flowing to our pump. The next thing I would do is I would start the pump. I'm gonna mention this right now, guys. This is a bypass house. This is something we recommend our contractors to upgrade their pump to from the way you get it from Graco. Graco only has a little bleeder valve on here. I'm not a big fan of it. So we put in a T, put a nice 4,000 PSI ball valve on here, and then we put another piece of hose on here. My recommendation is 10, 12, 15 foot piece of hose. We use it at different times for different things. But typically, when I'm ready to start, I usually pump through my bypass just to make sure everything is flowing and I have pressure right here on the ground. Once I see that, then I close my valve and I know I got emulsion going up to the roof and I'm ready to start roofing. All right, thanks guys. Hey guys, Tim from Western Colloid. Just wanted to share a little tip with you. So here is a T. So if I'm on a big job and I wanted to hook up a couple of pumps and have two crews going on the same job, I put on a T, can put a filter on each side, hook up my transfer hose, and now I can put multiple guys to work on the same roof. So a bigger job, it's an option you can consider. Any questions? Any other information you need, be sure to come and visit us at westerncolloid.com. Give us a call. Thank you. Okay, hey guys, Tim with Western Colloid. One thing I want to talk about on these Graco 733s, we recommend these pumps. They are just good pieces of equipment. We think they're well worth their money. We don't believe there's anything better on the market, period. That being said, I've been doing this a long time, guys. Now I work for Western Colloid, but previously I worked for a roofing contractor. And I started working with coatings and different pumps back in 1981. So, like I said, I've been doing this a long time. One of the things I really liked was, in the beginning days of Graco pumps and the Kohler motors, they had small gas tanks. And if you buy a brand new one today, 1017 lower end, they went back to small gas tanks. I don't know why, but I changed all of the company I work for pumps. So you can see this company was nice enough to let us do a demonstration using some of their equipment. So I changed all the pumps out to the Quick Connect. They come with a 6-gallon tank. A 6-gallon tank will last you all day, unless you work 14, 15-hour days. But a good 10, 11-hour day, this will last. The smaller tanks that come on the equipment, hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, somebody's got to go down and fill the tank. So it's just more productive to have this bigger tank. So in closing, guys, I would just like to say this is a great, another little tool to put in your toolbox, things you can have. So again, we're here to help you in any way we can. You got any questions, give us a call, visit our website, Western Colloid. We're here. Use us as a resource to make you more productive. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, we want to talk a little bit on the pump itself. So you've heard us talk quite a bit about how much Tim and I both love these pumps. In our experience, there's nothing that performs better using our products. This is a 733 model, and what we like most about the 733 is the flexibility it gives us. So most of our systems consist of either emulsion or acrylic or some combination of the two. Okay, so for almost all of our systems, you're going to need the ability to spray emulsion, say for the first week, and then you got to switch to acrylic, and you got to be able to spray that for the second week. With this particular rig, we don't need 2 separate pumps in order to accomplish that. If you look right here, there's a nut right here. There's actually 3 of them. It's got tie rods that come down. Right now there's a 1017 lower end on here. This is a 1000 max PSI with a 17 gallons per minute max output. Right here down on the ground, we have a 250 lower end. This particular lower end is a max PSI of 4000 and a max output of 4 gallons per minute, okay? So very important in almost all walks to use the proper tool, right? And have the equipment that's going to work best for the task that you're trying to accomplish. Now this rig, honestly, the value's there, but it costs a little bit. What I can do with this rig is work in the 1017, and then when I'm ready to switch to acrylic and either put on the top coat or put my plies in with acrylic, I take these bolts off, remove that lower end, and then I slide this guy right into its place. Hook up my new 4000 PSI hose and all the equipment that I need to put on my acrylic. So one of the most important things that I really want to point out, and I'm laughing a little bit because it's so simple, but it's something that we see missed all the time. This is throat seal liquid, okay? And the throat seal is what's going to keep your lower ends lubricated. Now you got big pieces of metal rubbing up against each other. Now you wouldn't run your car very far without putting oil in it. You shouldn't run this pump without putting oil in it. This is inexpensive, and I would say probably the single biggest cause of pump breakdowns that I've seen out in my travels. So.
Okay guys, so now we're going to hook up to a 275 gallon tote. So we're still using this transfer hose. We use the same transfer hose no matter if we're hooking up to a tank, tote, 55 gallon drum. So again, I like my trash bag. Again, sometimes you can have a little bit of wet material left over. So take your cover off. With the totes, a lot of them have just a straight cam lock fitting that I could put this on, and I'm set up ready to go. Open my valve, away I go. Others have threads. This one actually has a 2-inch pipe thread. So we have a 2-inch female pipe thread by a 2-inch male cam lock fitting. So that gets screwed on. Make sure you screw it on tight, otherwise you'll be subject to some leaking. So that's on, nice and tight. Now again, I like white lithium grease. Lubricate both sides. Makes putting it on and taking it off easy. If you do it all the time, a lot less headaches out in the field. Close your fittings, and now you're ready to open your valve. Same thing like with the tanker we talked about. We got to vent the top of a tote. So again, just a lid up here. Loosen it up, crack it, that's it. Again, we don't want to just leave it open. Hot days, certain environments, you can get a nice crust on the top of this stuff. So just remember, all you're doing is venting it so that we don't build up pressure, collapse the tote. Okay, here's another method, 55 gallon barrel. If you can't use the tanker, you can't use the tote, got to use drums. Here's the method to hook up to a 55 gallon drum. Open your lid. So we've got our transfer hose. Like to lubricate it. Before and after just makes putting things back together and taking them apart much easier. So we take a 2-inch stinger. This is just PVC tubing, and then we put a 2-inch cam lock adapter. So this is all just PVC up to here. Really easy made. You can buy all this at Home Depot, and this at your hydraulic hose place. So then this goes in here. Close your fittings. Into your drum. Recommend you put your cover back on. You don't want stuff to dry out. And now you're ready to spray. Let me just touch a little bit on drums versus totes and tankers. Whenever possible, tankers are the preferred method by contractors. Then tote is second choice. Third choice is drums. With drums, you will need a full-time laborer on the ground. So if it's the way you have to go, it is what it is. Just be prepared. Because the pumps we're talking about, Graco's 733 roof rig, spraying 15 to 17 gallons a minute, not going to take you too long to empty your 55-gallon barrel. So a guy will be on the ground. But again, you want to set these up. They're typically on a pallet. Your guy's on the ground, so he's always ready. This barrel's getting down towards the end. He's here, he's getting down there. He tips it, sucks up as much as he can. And then, if he knows what he's doing, he can just go from here, boom, right into the next drum. If little safety, you want to make sure, stop the pump. But if you're all set up and the drums are on a pallet, there's no problem going from one drum right to the next, and the guys just keep spraying on the roof.
Hey guys, Chris with Western Colloid. Just want to continue with our conversation on setup. Again, our focus is on cleanliness and efficiency, okay? And that's what we want to try and help you with. You know, there's several different ideas out there. I've seen a lot of stuff in my travels of good concepts. This is one of them. Right here we have a cart. It's holding all our hose. We got 400 feet of hose in this cart, but I may not need it all, okay? So my building might only be 50 squares, 80 squares, you know, could be 200, 500, so on. So depending on how much hose I need on the roof, the rest of the cart the rest of the hose can actually stay in the cart, okay? So I have a tail basically coming out, and if we were to follow this hooks up to my Graco 733 roof rig, okay? So that's on the ground, and that's hooked up. And then I take my wand, pull that up onto the roof. It's the last, say, 60 feet is running through this French drain. I like this, okay? I don't want that hose slapping up against the side of the building. I don't want to get their building dirty, okay? I've seen people use fire hose. There's a couple of options, but whatever you do, keep the building clean. Painting a building at the end of the job is terrible for everybody, right? So let's not get it dirty in the first place. Okay, just to dive in a little bit deeper, this is a French drain, plastic casing basically that the hose runs through. You know, we can always put plastic up on the side of the building, and I recommend doing that anyway as a precautionary measure. But what this does is if you ever did have a problem with the connection in the hose, that keeps the mess contained, okay? So the pump's gonna be under pressure. And if a connection ever breaks, or a hole ever, you ever get a hole in your hose, that pump's not going to stop pumping. It's going to continue to work. In fact, it's probably going to pick up speed. So what this does is protects the building. If there ever was a problem, at least now it's contained on the ground.
So guys, understanding how to contain the mess of working with emulsion on the roof, that's the key.
I just wanted to touch on real quick, you guys. You know, all the way that we're describing this, and this is something you get from the Western Colloid staff. This is something that Tim's been doing this a very, very long time, and you know, this is information that we want to pass along. We want everything to go smooth. You know, we're your partners in this. So the cam lock fittings, we recommend them because we understand the time that it saves on the job. The flexibility to be able to move from product to product. You're going to have different size roofs. Different things are going to be available at different times. Different things are going to make sense. What we want is for you guys to be as efficient, as clean as possible. It's what's best for the building owner and the property that you're working on. It's what's best for the contractor to be as efficient as possible. And all parties involved are going to be most happy if we can get into a job, do the job cleanly, and get out of the job as fast as possible. That's what everybody's looking for. So rely on us. You know, contact myself or Tim. Ask us questions about setup. We're happy to help. This is information that we have, that we've acquired over our careers, and we're happy to pass that on to you. So please reach out to us, westerncolloid.com, or call us by phone. We'd be happy to answer any of your questions. Thanks.